لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله والصلاة والسلام على خير خلقه ونور عرشه أفضل الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيبنا وسيدنا وسندنا وشفيعنا مولانا أبو القاسم المصطفى محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين. أما بعد، قال الله تعالى في كتابه الكريم وقول الحق وفي الأرض آيات للموقنين وفي أنفسكم أفلا تبصرون. صدق الله العلي العظيم. And in the earth there are signs for those who are sure, and in your own souls too. Will you not then see? This is the ayat. These are the two ayat that I have been reciting for this majalis, the series of majalis. It's about looking inside your souls and trying to rediscover the treasures that we have. We all have, each one of us. And the older we grow, the more chances of snakes and scorpions and dust and mud to settle down. That's why, you see here in our tradition sometimes, the old grandparents would say, a child is like an angel, he's a farishta. Why? Because he hasn't been polluted or she hasn't been polluted. But the older we grow, the environment has an effect on us. And we take in certain things which might not be ideal for our own characters, right? And that's what happens to all of us. And we need to rediscover it from within ourselves again. Now, let's talk about certain qualities today. I want to just touch upon certain qualities that each human being should have, not just Muslims, but each human being should have. And if we all had that, the world would be a beautiful place to live in. Not just by looking at the beauty, but actually the beauty of human beings amongst each other. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. As Muslims, we have what is called Sharia. Everybody knows what is Sharia. We have a code of law that we have to follow, and that is called Sharia. Now, Sharia in itself is not enough to raise a man or a human being towards perfection. If you follow the Sharia, you do the halal and haram and all that stuff, it's very nice. Alhamdulillah, subhanallah. But sometimes it can raise you to a certain level, but there are certain things which you need extra to again grow further. And that is ethics. Islam lays a lot of stress on akhlaq, on ethics, which we translate as ethics, and morality. That's why we see our parents who have been taught from their parents on what not to do and what to do as far as behavior is concerned. Good behavior is not for the sake of looking good in front of the other person. Good behavior comes from within. I say this often to my friends, to youngsters as well, and I'll say it to you now as well. When I was in school, a little kid like some of you here, one of my teachers who wasn't a Muslim, she said to me, when I was misbehaving apparently, I don't think I ever misbehaved in school, but apparently she thought I was. So she said to me, you behave like a gentleman because you are a gentleman, not because the other person is a gentleman or a lady. That has stuck with me. And when I studied Islam, even a little bit, we see the importance of behaving like a gentleman. What does a gentleman behave like? He has some good characters inside, right? Or a lady for that matter. So you behave well because you want to behave well, not because you have to behave well for somebody. That will not last. Because the other person goes away, then you again get back to your incorrect ways or ways which are not ideal. So we have to bear in mind, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he was the last prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? We have 124,000 Anbiya before, in total. Rasulullah was the last of them. each Anbiya, each prophet taught us about good ethics, about morality. Don't lie, don't cheat, don't get angry. Try to be good even when you face difficult situations. But Rasulullah's mission was to perfect the noble traits of character. It wasn't to teach us about good character traits. We all have it. Let me define it this way. An insan or a human being has two things which are there. Yesterday I mentioned about human qualities and animal qualities. Let me put it in an Islamic way. That was a general understanding that we have animalistic qualities and human qualities which raise us, not keep us as animals, but make us a different creation. What we call is fitra and what we call as tabiya. Now in Urdu or in Farsi we say tabiya as your health or whatever it is. How is your tabiya? That is not exactly what tabiya is. Tabiya is the animalistic instincts that we have. And fitra is the one which Allah has put in us. So every person who is born on the fitra. And that's why you will see a lot of Muslims, refer to some new Muslims who come to Islam as reverts, not converts. Have you heard the term? Yes. Yeah? Some people refer to as reverts, some people say converts. Why is it revert? Revert because they were born on the fitra, then they digressed and diverted, but then they realized their fitra and they came back to it. That's why it's a reversion. Some people say it's a convert, because people have been following a certain path, then they decide to convert to another path, and that's a convert. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So my goal in these sessions that I'm doing here is basically to affect ourselves to go back to our fitra, inshallah. We all have goodness in us. There's no doubt about it. It just gets hidden by the dust. Do you want to know what Amir al-Mu'mineen said about the akhlaq of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? Inshallah. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Let's see some energy. I'm very passionate about this subject, about myself and for everybody else I speak to. So I want you to realize the passion that I have. So Amir al-Mu'mineen was asked by a person, tell us something about the akhlaq of Rasulullah. Inshallah. Now, before actually I go, I missed one very important point. There's two things in a human being. One is, it's from the same Arabic root letters. Khalaqa. Khalaqa, not ka. One is called khalq, another one is called khulq. They have different meanings. Khalq is something which is your physical appearance, the way we are born, the way we look, the way we are built up. And alhamdulillah, we all have been, at least from this much, all are very beautiful looking men here. And some of us spent a lot of time in front of the mirror. Some spend a little bit more. Ladies as well, not just boys and men. Doing their hair up, making sure the makeup is right, the shave is good, the lines of the beard are nice. All that stuff happens a lot amongst men. So that is good. May Allah give us good khalq, keep our appearances good. But more important is the khulq. The khulq is the character inside us. We know what our khulq is, and we have to develop that. That is what we strive towards, to becoming a perfect human being. We cannot reach the perfection, but we have to attempt to reach it. What is called insan kamil. Our Aimma alayhi salam, Masumeen, where Islam is insan kamil. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam answered this question this way. He said to the man, he said, do you see the whole world? You see how beautiful it is? The man said, yes, it's very beautiful. There's lots of very nice things to see in very different places. They look very nice. Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam said, Allah defines these as insignificant. The world is defined as small, nothing important, not worth talking about. It's so low that in the next world we'll inshallah see some really, really beautiful things which are really everlasting, and they are absolutely more beautiful. You can't even imagine it. Because we are so enamored You know, we go to the Lake District here and say, wow, so beautiful, alhamdulillah. And it is beautiful, no doubt about it. My Amir al-Mu'minin said that the world, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, is insignificant. It is so small. And we find it so beautiful. But Allah said about Rasulullah, إِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. Allah said that the character of Rasulullah is Azim. Azim, the word Azim in English is very broad language. Arabic is very specific. When you say Azim, we define it again as great, as huge, as big. But Azim has a big dimension. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says Azim, it's not like us saying it's huge. In Allah's standards, it's Azim. Can you imagine what greatness the khulq of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam would have been? It's beyond our imagination. We have heard examples of how good Rasulullah's character was, how good his ethics were, but we cannot imagine how great his akhlaq was, because it's by Allah's standards, it's Azim, not by our standards. So this is what the answer Amir al-Mu'minin gave to the man. I cannot define Rasulullah's akhlaq, because Allah says he's khuluqin azim. For the whole world, which is so huge for us, which is so beautiful for us, we haven't even seen, let's say, 10% of the whole world. And we've been to places which have been nice, go on holidays, alhamdulillah, sometimes, go to places which are very nice. But Allah said, that's nothing. You don't know the akhlaq of Rasulullah. He is azim. So Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he came to perfect our moral traits of character. And we, as followers of the Ahlul Bayt of the Prophet, we have to make sure that we follow and make ourselves better every day. This is the purpose of our gatherings here, of doing salah. All those ibadat that we do, it has to have an effect on our mind and our character. It's not just actions. It's not just, amal. There has to be thought behind it, and there has to be some action. Alhamdulillah. Now, another thing that is said in the Quran is tazkiyah al-nafs. Some other people have heard about this term, tazkiyah al-nafs. The purification of the soul. How do we do this? It's very good to say purify the soul, purify the soul. But how do we do this? How do we tell our children, our family members, to indulge in purification of the soul? It seems like a very big word. Purification of the soul. It's very, very simple. We just need to be conscious of the fact that Allah is watching us. God is watching us all the time. Imam Mahdi alayhi salam is aware of everything that we do. We have to be conscious of that. And then we won't do any major sins, inshallah. We won't even do minor sins. That is the big thing to help in tazkiyah al-nafs. I've got two notations that our ulama say about, akhlaq. If we want to get rid of something which is a bad habit in us, they say that you should try to do it for 40 days. If you can do it for 40 days, it becomes a habit. The first 7 days are very difficult to get rid of something. But once you cross those 7 days, you get better at it. And if you reach the days of 40, then it has a chance of becoming into a habit. And that develops into a good thing. And it stays with us. It doesn't just vanish after 40 days, unless you make an effort to go back to the bad thing. The second thing that our ulama say, that it is important to remove the bad things that we have in our character for the good to enter, or for the good to surface. That's what they say. Because our qalb, our heart, what we call heart in English, is not a very accurate translation, but our qalb is like a container. And what it does is, if you fill it with something which is not useful, there's no space for the useful things to set in. So you remove the non-useful things, the bad things, and the good things just step out from there. I'll tell you how. I would love to have a six-pack. You know what a six-pack is? Yeah? I see somebody having a six-pack. Yeah, it seems like that. Six-pack means the person is fit, he's done some workout, he's got a nice flat body, no fat on him, nothing looking at it. This is, it's an analogy to say it's just like a six-pack. You remove the fat, the six-pack comes out. You always had it there. But we have hidden it with our layers of fat because we have not been working out and we have been eating a lot of heavy stuff and all that. Ethics or good things are within us, but they are hidden by our dust on our characters. You need to just shake the dust and inshallah the good things will come out. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
We all say in our community, we all say that Imam Hussain alayhi salam will do shafaat for us, inshallah ta'ala. Or Lady Fatima Zahra salamullah alayha will do shafaat for us, inshallah ta'ala. Inshallah ta'ala. But who would they do shafaat for? We need to qualify. We need to qualify ourselves to be able to be gaining the shafaat from the lady or from imams or from anybody. Why should we get a job if you're not qualified for the job? If somebody else is qualified, they give the job to him or her. However, where he attained that qualification, through hard work or through by getting a degree or whatever it is, you need to qualify to be able to at least come up to that standard where we get that job. And I've heard this in many places that if you come to the majalis and you cry, you get shafaat of the Masumeen, especially Lady Zahra alayhi salam. Inshallah we will. But if we go out from these gatherings and we go and do exactly the opposite of what our Aimma and our Prophet ﷺ wanted to do, then that negates it. We don't need to negate our good things here when we go outside. We make an effort not to indulge in anything which will not please the Aimma. Our 60th Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam said,
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali
no energy
Muhammad.
today. Young people sitting here, come on. Do justice to your salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
He said that our shafaat will not reach the people who take the namaz lightly. He didn't say who missed the namaz. Forget missing the namaz. Who take the namaz lightly, who take the prayers lightly. Which means, it's Zohar time at whatever it is, 1 or 12, 1:12 or something. And say, yeah, watching match, we'll do it when tea time happens in the game. We'll do it at 3 o'clock. For no reason, just because we can, we delay. That is what it means by taking our salat lightly. It doesn't mean doing a qada, but for no reason, if we delay our salat, that is taking our salat lightly. And we need to qualify for shafaat by doing these things that are important for the Aimma. So be very careful of all the ibadat that we do. We have to have the right intention and the right manner of doing these things. We don't take it lightly. It's not just actions. It's something from inside our being that should happen when we stand in front of the Almighty Lord. Inshallah ta'ala. Now Imam Hussain alayhi salam is a source of transformation of our hearts and minds. That's why we gather here. Imam Hussain alayhi salam, the gatherings make us cry for him, what happened to him. And when we go out, we need to carry it forward. We need to keep it inside our heart so that we carry it forward and implement things on our lives. When we hear the Fazail of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, he was such a truthful man. He was such a truthful man. He followed the truth. He stood for the truth. He gave his life for the truth. Imam Hussain didn't need to do anything extra for going to Jannah. Like we have to do a lot of work to go to Jannah. We need the shafaat as well. We need Allah's grace to go to Jannah. Our actions itself, even if we are the most pious, are not guaranteed that will take us to Jannah. It's only the shafaat of the Aimma alayhi salam, the Masumeen, and the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, ultimately, which will take us to Jannah, inshallah. So we have to remember that when we go out of these gatherings, we go out with a heart that tends to implement the teachings or whatever we have heard here and implement it into our lives. Truth is something very, very hard. It's easy for me to sit here and say, we should all be on the truth. Do you think Yazid did not know the truth? He knew the truth. Do you think the army of 30,000 or 50,000 or whatever it was, they did not know the truth about Imam Hussain alayhi salam? Every one of them knew the truth. Some of them even were sad at what was going on. on Imam Hussain and his family members, but they did not have the courage or the gumption to stand with the truth. Yeah? That is very important. Take it from me. All of us here know the truth whenever we do wrong. Whenever we do wrong, especially the grown-ups, we know what is right. And sometimes we slip up and we don't stand with the truth. We get away with, bypassing the truth. Or try to justify it and say, oh, they did that to us, so you can do this to us. That's okay. You can justify as much as you want, but you know inside that what is right, and what is wrong is what is wrong. That is the big teaching that we take from Imam Hussain alayhi salam. The stand with the truth. Whatever sacrifices we have to make, we stand with the truth. It cannot be easy at many times, but it's not been easy following the Imam alayhi salam for the last 12th, 13th century in any case. Are we the followers of our Aimma or not? Say something please. We are the followers of the Aimma alayhi salam, of the Ahlul Bayt of the Holy Prophet alayhi salam. And we need to follow them by standing on the truth. Our ulama of akhlaq say that truth is a very fundamental quality. If we stand by that quality, a lot of other good qualities automatically slot in.
MashaAllah.
Just by standing on the truth. And that is what we are going to talk about today.
MashaAllah.
We talk about a person who recognized the truth and came to the truth. It wasn't easy. For people who are here in England, people who have businesses, sometimes you get an opportunity, you can circumvent the truth sometimes. It's easy to do it, nobody's going to bother. But our soul, our nafs, our ruh get affected. Remember, this is not the only life we have. We have a bigger life later on. We need to prepare for that life. And for that, it's not just Sharia, but it's also ethics, morality, akhlaq. That will be very, very important. And we learn this from our Aimma, Imam Hussain alayhi salam. Imam Hussain showed to the people that I am somebody who can help you go to Jannah. Stand by me. But people could not. They knew it, that this man is the one who's going to take me to Jannah. But they were more concerned about this world. And this world, like I mentioned yesterday, is adna. They were ready to get the adna and leave alone the bigger prize. They didn't even get the adna. What happened ultimately? They didn't get the little thing as well. There was one person, Qur ibn Yazid al-Riyahi. He recognized the truth. He had truth in his heart. And he recognized that and he came to the truth. Do you have the patience to listen about him? Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
When Imam Hussain and his caravan is going to Kufa, somebody reported to Imam Hussain that there's a big horde of trees they can see in the far distance. Imam Hussain said, no, they're not trees, they're flags of an army coming towards us. So Imam Hussain stopped his caravan there, and Hur's battalion came to Imam Hussain and he said, we're not going to let you go to Kufa. And a conversation ensued and all that happened. You know about it, I'm not going to go into the details. And Hur was having this conversation with Imam Hussain. Ultimately, prayer time came around. Imam Hussain said, I will pray with my men over this side, you lead your men in prayers that side. Hur said, Oh Mawla, when you are present, how can I lead the prayers? We all will pray behind you. This is the man who recognized the truth with Imam Hussain. That was clear over there. So Imam Hussain prayed. They all prayed behind him. And when Imam Hussain was ready to move on from there, he moved his horse, pulling his rein. And when Hur saw it, he grabbed the reins of Imam Hussein's horse and he said, I will not let you go to Kufa. I have orders from Ibn Ziyad to arrest you and not let you go to Kufa. Now Imam Hussain didn't say things like, only a little while ago I gave water to you, your horses and everything, I've done so much good for you, look at how you're behaving today. He didn't say all that. He was Kareem ibn al-Kareem. Kareem ibn al-Kareem never says to the other person, I did this for you. when you were in trouble, when you were in need. Kareem ibn Kareem does it, forgets it. That is what Kareem is. Imam Hussain, any word from our Aimma is not just by that. Just like we say something without thinking. Any word spoken by our Aimma has weight, has thought and a reason. Imam Hussain said to him, to her, may your mother grieve for you. It is a very, very different kind of a statement. He said very tersely, may your mother grieve for you, O Hur. Hur looked at Imam Hussain and said, anybody else, if he had said that word, this sentence, I would have given it back to that person in the same manner. But I can't do that to you, O Ibn Zahra. Your mother is the daughter of the Holy Prophet of Islam. She's the leader of women in paradise. I cannot do that. And Hur deviated Imam Hussain from going to Kufa. Imam Hussain knew he was going to come to my side. But he didn't force him, didn't ask him. He just used this word, your mother may weep for you, may grieve for you. And Hur thought about it. Imam Hussain made him think about the truth. From 2nd of Muharram till the 9th of Muharram, Hur had time to think. He was pondering about what Imam Hussain said to him. And on the 9th of Muharram at night, Hur went to Umar ibn Sa'd and he said instead, are we going to really have a battle tomorrow? Umar Sa'd said, of course we are going to have a battle tomorrow. And it will be a vicious battle. Arms will be cut and heads will be chopped and we will annihilate the army. Now Hur was shaken up by that. He came out of the tent, he was shaken. And another person from the army saw him and said, oh Hur, if somebody had asked me who is the bravest man in Iraq, I would have said, you are the bravest man in Iraq. But look at you, how you are shaking. How come you are so afraid of 72 people in the army? Hur said to that person, be quiet for a minute and come with me. Went further ahead. And then he asked that soldier, can you hear anything? The man said, yes, I can hear. I can hear the cries of children. They are crying, Allah Tash, Allah Tash. Hur said, that is the reason I'm scared. Not because of 72 soldiers. I'm scared that on the day of judgment, Fatima Zahra Salamullah alayhi will not do shafaat for me because of these cries. If I raise a sword on her son. And Hur started weeping there, he was thinking, still thinking. And then his son saw him, tears on his cheeks. He asked his father, Father, why are you so worried? And Hur replied, oh, my dear son, I see that I'm swaying between hell and heaven. I can see hell running towards Yazid, and I see heaven at the feet of Hussein. I want to go to heaven. And his son replied, do you want to go alone to heaven, or are you going to take me with you as well? Riwayat say that Hur took his brother, his son and his slave towards the tent of Imam Hussain and they walked. And as they were walking, Hur was still crying. And he said to his son, oh my dear son, tie my hands behind my back. These were the hands which held the reins of Hussein's horse. I'm very ashamed of my hands. And his son tied the hands behind the back of his father. And again Hur wept and he said, my son, I'm ashamed of my eyes. I'm really ashamed of my eyes because I looked up to Hussein. Please blindfold me. And his son blindfolded Hur and they kept moving forward towards Imam Hussein's tents. Imam Hussain saw somebody coming and he realized it was Hur that was coming towards his tent. He asked his brother, oh brother Abbas, go and welcome our guests who are coming to our tents. Hur was blindfolded and he heard voices coming towards him and asked his son, oh my dear son, who is coming towards us? His son replied, it's Abbas ibn Ali coming towards us. Abbas had a lot of rope on any army because of his bravery and his power and his strength. And Hur said to Abbas, who proclaimed loudly, that we are not here to fight, we are coming to Hussain to ask forgiveness. And Abbas, when he came close, he said, I'm also not coming to fight, I've just come here to welcome you to Imam Hussain's tent. And Hur was taken by Abbas to Imam Hussain's tent. Imam Hussain saw him and stood up and took off his blindfold, and Hur fell down on the ground and started kissing the feet of Imam Hussain. Imam Hussain lifted him up and he untied the rope around his hand as well. And Hur said, "O Imam, can I be forgiven? Can my tawbah be accepted? Please tell me that you have forgiven me." Imam Hussain said, "O Hur, my mother has forgiven you. My father Ali al-Murtada has forgiven you. My grandfather Rasul al-Khuda has forgiven you. And my Lord Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has forgiven you." And he hugged him. Hur was pleased, but he kept crying. He said, "If you have really forgiven me, then give me permission to fight for you tomorrow, the first person to fight for you." Imam Hussain said, "You are my guest, Hur, and I don't even have any water to give you." And Hur was really ashamed, he was really crying with bitter tears and said, "It's because of me that you don't have water. It's because of me that your children are thirsty." And he said to Imam Hussain, when I came to your caravan on that day with my soldiers were shouting at you. And you had said to me, "Oh Hur, tell your soldiers to keep quiet and speak in low voices. I'm with my sisters, and my sisters can't bear that somebody talks to me in loud voices. I want to seek forgiveness from your sisters, O Imam. Please take me to your sister's tent." And Imam Hussain asked Abbas to take Hur to Zainab and Kulthum tents. He stood outside and he said, "O daughters of the Prophet, O daughters of Zahra, O daughters of the house of Nabuwah, I am Hur and I have come to seek your forgiveness. Please forgive me for what I did. Please do not complain to your mother on the day of judgment about me." And as he said that, he could hear wailing from inside the tent. The ladies were crying, and Hur started to beat his head, and he put sand on his head, because he was saying that now I have committed a second sin by making the daughters of Zahra cry again. And then he heard a voice, "Oh Hur, on the day of judgment, I will ask my mother Zahra to forgive you. I will ask my mother Zahra that Hur came towards Imam Hussain on the day of Karbala. I will do shafaat for you." And Hur was thankful for that, and he was given permission to fight the next day. But he said to his son, "Oh son, you go out first, because if I go out first and I get killed, you might get saddened and leave Imam Hussain. I want you to go first to the battle." When the battle started, Hur's son went. He fought with the army of which his father had been a general of. He fought against the army, he killed a few munafiqeen, but he was struck and fell down from the horse, and he cried for his father to come and help him. Hur was running towards his son, but when he reached there, he saw Imam Hussain was already there with his son. And he said to Imam Hussain, "Oh Imam, why have you taken the trouble to come to the son of a slave like me?" Imam Hussain said, "Hur, keep away from here. This is a matter about an old father and a young son. An old father is not supposed to pick up the corpse of a young son. Let me carry the body of your son back to the tent." But I say, after Zohar there will be another dead body. It will be Ali Akbar who will fall, but there will be nobody to say to Imam Hussain, "Oh Imam, I will carry the body of Akbar towards your tent." There will be nobody to say that. Imam Hussain will be left alone. When Hur went to fight the battle, he fought valiantly, he killed many soldiers, but ultimately he was struck by a rock on his forehead, and he fell down from his horse, and he said salam to Imam Hussain, and he said, "Accept my offering to Imam Hussain." Imam Hussain ran towards Hur,
he placed his head on his lap and he wiped the blood from his forehead. He wiped the blood was gushing out from his forehead, and he tied a handkerchief on the forehead of Hur. Imam Hussain said to Hur, "Oh Hur, this is the handkerchief of my mother Zahra that I'm tying on your head." I say, "Oh Hur, you went to Jannah with this handkerchief of Fatima Zahra alayhi salam on the Sham Ghariba. Fatima's daughter will not have a rida on her head." Lanatullah ala qawmi zalimin. وَسَيَعْلَمُ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا أَيَّ مُنْقَلِبٍ يَنْقَلِبُونَ.